G'day everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. It has been a while since I've brought out the old face cam. It's been pretty much the past month, just me sitting behind the computer screen, smashing out a bit of off-season content. I just really want to quickly say cheers for all the support the past month on the channel. Heavily appreciated. But yeah, now the AFL season is slowly creeping upon us. Just over 40 days away now until round 1. So I thought, hey, let's start getting some pre-season content underway on the channel. And with a pretty popular sort of video, did it last year. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 15 AFL players who I think will have their breakout year in 2023. Now, quickly, you just want to start off by saying the players that I have excluded from the video are pretty much the first or second year type of players. So players like Nick Daicos, Saligo, or 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻, all those sorts of plays, Jason Horne-Francis, just because I feel with those particular types of plays, you got to give them a bit more time. For them to really hit their full breakout season. So I've included the players that have probably been in the system a little bit longer. Maybe it's their third or fourth year, and they're just ready to hit that next step in their career. So those are the sort of players I've included in this video. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. And let's get into today's video. Rightio everyone, we'll kick off today's video with Tom Green from the JDOD Giants. By the way, this is in no particular order, but I love this guy. He's a fellow player I actually know personally myself, used to go to my high school. I know no one probably gives two shits, but anyway, he's entering his 4th season in the competition, and just how he plays, he just looks like an elite inside midfielder. Extracts the ball from the contest so well, he plays tough, he plays angry, just a big bodied midfielder, and he's put on a lot of size in pre-season too. I think he's one of now their main midfield players in there, with the likes of Taranto and obviously Hopper departing the club. 𝐸𝐿 with a bit of inside time too, but he's the one to really stand up this year for the G-men. I think it's him. As just said before, he's put on bulk. You see the pre-season pics, he just looks primed and ready to have a brilliant year. We saw earlier in 2022, he was capable of producing just really good glimpses, tough as nails in the midfield, so good in the contested game and extracting the ball from the contest. And he can really go forward and kick a goal too, and I think he can really start to average more disposals. He averaged 24 disposals last year, and I think he can produce a more consistent year of just high quality footy. So Tom Green is one I reckon will have a huge breakout year in 2023. We'll move on now to another midfielder that has put on a bit of size in pre-season. We'll go with Tom Sparrow from the Melbourne Demons. I guess you could say maybe last year he sort of had a bit of a breakout, especially 2021 because he did win the premiership. But last year we saw him with a lot more midfield minutes, and you'd look at Melbourne's midfield, a lot of aging players, or not really aging, but sort of like a prime age midfielders. Oliver's like 26, 27, Viney's getting on a bit, Petrarca around the same age as Oliver, but you got Sparrow, who's still a young fella, 22, 23 years of age, and he's an individual who I think can really get a lot more centre bounce attendances for the Demons and could be a bit of a revelation for him. You never know, if one might be playing a bit poorly, he could come in, Sparrow, and with the size he's put on, and from what I've heard, he's dominated in pre-season so far, he could really elevate himself as just a young, damaging dual position player, because he is very good on both areas of the ground, and I think this year, a bit more midfield minutes can make an impact down forward as well. I reckon he'll have a nice breakout season. Next player we'll go over in this video today is Ben King from the Gold Coast Suns. Reason why I've put him in is because I just still feel he could go to that next high level this year in 2023. It was such a shame he went down with the ACL last year, but you look at him, 2019, 17 goals, 2020, 25 goals, 2021, 47 goals. So you might question saying, hey, that probably was his breakout year, but for me, I think he can go to that next tier and possibly be a 40-man All-Australian inclusion, because he really can play, strong marking prowess, really good shot for goal, and he's very capable of kicking those bags left, right and centre for the Suns. And I like the upwards trajectory and how the Suns are going. So I think if the Suns play well, Ben King plays well. So I'm really big on him, and from what I've heard as well, he looks like he's been very good in pre-season too for the Suns. So I'm big on Ben King this year. He's another player who I reckon could break out in 2023. Next player we'll go over is possibly one of the most popular choices with a particular player to go with the breakout year in 2023, but I've got to put him in anyway because I'm big on him too. Hayden Young from the Freo Dockers. A lot of people are saying this guy could be a smoky All-Australian chance. I mean, I can't deny that at all. I think he's a genuine chance too, because just how he plays is special. Smart footy player, really good in the intercepting game, and his kicking is some of the best sort of kicks in the competition. He really can play. Averaged around 22 disposals in 2022, and with 𝐓𝐡𝐞 potentially having another really good year, I think he can go to the next level because just how he plays, he'll just slot in there on that half-back line. And also 𝐓𝐶𝐞, very good defensive unit, and I think Young will just be one of those players that elevates his game in 2023. He could possibly go to a 27, 28 plus disposal kind of guy, and not only that, strong interceptor like I've just mentioned before. I think just has the potential to become one of the best young elite halfback flankers in the competition in 2023. We'll stick with another 𝐓𝐶𝐞 play here, and I've decided to also go for another halfback flanker, Jordan Clark. I think with him, he is just one of the most forgotten young players in the competition. It's just because I personally feel he's sort of in Hayden Young's shadow. Like, everyone's talking up Hayden Young, but people are forgetting about Jordan Clark, and I think I'm pretty big on him too. And also, not only that, a lot of people forgot him as a really good recruit from last season. I thought he absolutely bossed it as just that dash of half-back, accumulator sort of player for the Dockers. But you saw him in the Cats, he sort of struggled to get in the side, had a few glimpses, but as soon as he's come to 𝐓𝐶𝐞, he's just found his home across half-back, and just the dash he offers, the agility on display, and just his quick sort of style of play is just infectious for 𝐓𝐶𝐞, and especially with their developing young backline. So I think he can go to the next step in 2023. I love what he offers, and yeah, I'm just big on just the 𝐓𝐶𝐞 sort of young guns, especially Jordan Clark. Let's not forget about him. He's sort of in Young's shadow, but I'm big on Jordan Clark as well for 2023. Might as well continue the chain of halfback players. I will go with another here from the Brisbane Lions, Keidean Coleman. If you are a regular visitor on the channel, you know I absolutely love watching this guy play. Really composed player, great on both feet, really good kick of the footy, just a joy to watch. And just how he plays, he's a small sort of frame player, but he sort of plays big in a way, and he's able to intercept too. Really good overhead. For him to have his breakout year, he's just got to accumulate a lot more possessions. I think he sort of did that with comparing to his 2021 to his 2022 season. I think he's able to take that next step and accumulate a lot more possessions. If he's able to do that, I think he gains the recognition and respect he truly deserves a lot more, as just a premier, young, rebounding halfback player that shows a lot of composure. And of course, as well, with their halfbacks, the Brisbane Lions, Dan Rich and Darcy Fogarty and Conor McKenna, there's a bit of competition there, so I think Keidean Coleman can beat nearly all of them and become just a well-regarded young, solid halfback flanker for the Brizzy Lions. Next player I've gone in today's video is I've gone with Sam Berry from the Adelaide Crows. Absolutely love watching this guy play. Really underrated young gun in the AFL competition. Finished as a top 5 tackler in 2022. I think people still don't recognise that as, hey, this guy can really play. Just a really solid inside midfielder that just shows tremendous passion of how he plays. His aggression at the pill, left, right and centre, constantly game in, game out. That's what I always noticed with him. He just plays angry. And I think with Adelaide, they're a team that's probably wanting to rise up the ladder, and I think they will do that this year, and he's going to be a key player in that midfield. And, you know, he's got really good members in there, of course, with Rory Laird and Rory Sloane coming back from injury. I think he can take that next step in 2023 and maybe be a chance for a 40-man selection. He isn't the most tallest and biggest body midfielder, but just how he plays, he's just an absolute menace in that midfield, and I think he can just continue that upwards trajectory, produce a really solid breakout year, and maybe show a bit more possessions and possibly more chances at goal. Next player I'm going with is another young contested beast in James Rowbottom from the Sydney Swans. Again, maybe you could argue he did have his breakout year. He managed to finish amazingly top 3 in Sydney's best and fairest. But I think this guy is more than just a role player, and that's what we saw in 2022 for the Sydney Swans. Just played his role so well. I think this guy can seriously play, and I know a bit of Swans bias in me, but I've got to have it a little bit sometimes in a video. But, you know, I think the Swans have been crying out for that Kennedy replacement, and I just personally feel with how Rowbottom plays, he's so good at winning those 50-50s, tough as nails in the midfield, racks up the tackles. I think he can possibly mould into that sort of Kennedy replacement. That's just how big I am on Rowbottom, and I reckon in 2023 he will have his breakout year and just raise up a lot more of those possession numbers and continue that upwards trajectory of just game in, game out, tackles after tackles. Next player I've chosen in today's video, another Gold Coast son. I'm going with Elijah Hollands. I'm pretty big on this guy. It took him a while to eventually get his debut. We eventually saw it. last year, second half of the season, and as soon as he came into the side, he just looked like he's just been a normal member of that Suns side, because he just fitted in so well across the wing with the ability to go into the midfield a little bit. But yeah, just a great tank on him, able to go forward and really hit his target and go for goal as well. He's shown really good attempts down forward and at goal, and with a really good recovery after that ACL injury, he's wanting to have a big preseason, and I believe he's just going to be that main man across that wing for the Suns and have his breakout year in 2023 and really elevate his game. Next player I'm going with in this video today is Mitch Georgiades from Port Adelaide. I personally believe this guy's a bit more of a forgotten player because of the likes of Todd Marshall having a really good year last year and sort of Charlie Dixon in and out of the side. He's sort of a bit more in those players' shadows, but we're able to see last year he kicked 23 goals, which isn't too bad, but he still had those really good glimpses as, you know, he's around that 192 centimeters mark. He's able to play on those really tall defenders and is just so good in the marking contest and a really athletic player. I think he has the potential now in 2023 to go in there and maybe kick 40 goals, because you've got Charlie Dixon, that sort of aging Georgiades in there, could just be really good this year for Port Adelaide. I think he can have his breakout year, go back, maybe kick 40 goals, and just show his really good athletic play that he's so good at. Next player I'm going with is Cumberland from the Richmond Tigers, another one of those young players that just came in and just was an instant impact for their side. Had a really good few runner games last year, and I think he can continue that in 2023, because I think with the Tigers forward line, there's a lot of aging plays in there. Of course, Lynch and Rewalt getting on. He's not a key forward, obviously, but you know, Shea Bolton, I think, sort of a bit better as more of a midfielder forward. I think Cumberland can have a really solid role down there as just a bit of a goal sneak, with able to push higher up the ground. We saw that last year, and I think if he can continue that potential, he could maybe go back and kick 30, 40 goals, sort of like maybe a Ginnivan sort of breakout type of year. Just go back and really set the competition alight for the Tigers in 2023. We'll move on now to a Essendon player I am pretty big on, of Archie Perkins, that just classy midfielder forward with a heaps amount of X factor. I think we saw last year a lot of glimpses. I really did like him. He had a lot more centre bouncing tendencies, and just his ability to just go forward, kick goals, and just set up plays is something that is so eye-catching for me. And, you know, he is another one of those high draft picks, Victorian, pretty hyped up, big talked about player. With 2023, I think he can own a lot more of midfield minutes and just raise up those possessions. He still is a very young player. He is entering his third season, averaged around 12 disposals. He could potentially bump that up to like an 18, 90 or 20 if he's able to really hit his breakout season, which I believe he is able to do so in 2023. We'll go with another Gold Coast Sun player. Yes, that is 3 Suns players in this video today. I'm big on the Suns, okay? I'm going to be going with Sam Flanders. Another one, again, another high draft pick. He's sort of just been in and out of the side the past few years for the Suns. He's failed to really find his proper position. He's played a bit as a bit of a deep forward. He's played sometimes as just that lockdown or rebounding sort of defender. But he's known as just a midfielder forward from his junior years. And how about his form in the VFL? I think the last 5 or 6 games he averaged around 36, 37, 38 sort of disposals. He had a few 45, 46 touches a game, a few matches in there as well. If he's able just to have that big preseason, sort of replicate or translate his VFL game into the AFL game, I understand it's very hard to do that. But if he's able to just really hits, just lock in a role, sort of as that midfielder forward that he did show in his junior years, I think he can have a bit of a breakout year and just start to really accumulate those possessions and just those inside 50 entries and just stats at goal as well. But yeah, big on Sam Flanders. I think he can really make an impact on AFL level this year. We'll move on now to a big key forward that I reckon has potential to kick 50 goals this year or more, Darcy Fogarty from the Adelaide Crows. Another Adelaide Crow I've got into today's video. And, you know, you just look at the situation. Taylor Walker entering probably his last season in the system. I think Fogarty now, you know, he's developed. He's had a lot of years now in the AFL. We saw the form from last year. The last second half of the year, he kicked, I think, around 25 goals plus. He was awesome. The marking contests just so good in the air. Really good set shot too. This is what people forget about him. He is a dead eye in front of goal, and that's what I love about him. You know, he's put on sides. We've finally been able to see the fruition of a top high draft pick that he was. Yeah, I think he can just go back this year and kick 50 goals. I think he's really got that really good potential. And, you know, if the Crows want to play good this season, I think Fogarty has got a lift, and I reckon he will in 2023. And we'll finish off today's video with another key forward. Again, a little bit of Swans bias, but I reckon Logan McDonald from the Sydney Swans can go back and maybe not kick around 50 goals because it is only his third season, but with his upwards trajectory, you look at Sydney's forward line, Buddy Franklin getting on, Sam Reid, he had a really consistent patch. He might not be in the side as much. I think Logan has got to get out of the reserves and be a consistent first team sort of play for the Swans. And he's a player that's yet to hit that 100 kilogram mark. But if you just forget about the size, just how he plays is so good at just that tall frame. Really good as a leading option. We saw many glimpses of that last year. But he just has that potential, let's not forget, to become a generational talent. He was projected as that in his junior years. His set shots could do a bit of work, but he's just a special player. And just the athletic traits he does display. He could put on a little bit more size. He's yet to hit that 100 kilogram mark, but entering his third year, I think he can go back and maybe kick 35 or 40 sort of goals plus this year for the Swans. And he's going to be a really key player in that Sydney side if they are wanting to play good footy again in 2023. So everyone, there were 15 AFL players I reckon could have their breakout year in 2023. Of course, there are a lot more AFL players I could have gone over into today's video, so feel free to let me know your fellas plays I left out in this video today, because there's just so many. And you never know, there's just those players that we might not have heard of and might not have played many games in the system that could just rise up and have an absolute revelation of a year. So I'd love to hear your fellas down below in the comments. Once again, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in today's video. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you wanted to enjoy today's video. And yeah, until next time, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.